He wasn't supposed to be there that morning. David had taken a wrong turn on his way to a job interview, one that already felt like his last shot. His car, old and coughing out smoke, sputtered to a stop near a rundown gas station on the edge of downtown Milwaukee. Rain fell hard, blurring the glass, and with it, his already fragile sense of direction. And that's when he saw her. A woman, maybe in her 50s, sat against the brick wall near the gas station's convenience store. Her hands trembled as she clutched a cardboard sign, "Anything helps. I'm not invisible." But what stopped David cold wasn't the sign. It was the way she was crying, quietly, like someone who'd already cried too much to be noticed anymore. If you believe true kindness always finds its way back, please tap the like button now and subscribe to support more stories like this. David hesitated. He had just enough cash for gas and maybe a small coffee before his interview. He wasn't rich, or even okay, his rent was 2 weeks overdue, and he'd sold his guitar the night before just to fill his tank. He could have looked away. He could have told himself he didn't have enough to help. But something in that moment wouldn't let him. He stepped out into the rain. The air smelled of wet pavement and gasoline. "Hey," he said softly, unsure if she could hear him. The woman lifted her head, her eyes red, her lips trembling. She tried to smile but couldn't quite make it. "I'm fine," she whispered, just tired. Her name was Linda. She had once worked at a diner down the street, until it closed without warning. Her husband had passed years ago, and her son, she said, had moved away, too far, too busy. She hadn't eaten since the day before. David stood there, heart pounding. He looked at the time, his interview was in 40 minutes, on the other side of town. But somehow, that felt less important than what was right in front of him. He took her hand and led her inside the small convenience store. The cashier gave them a suspicious look, but David ignored it. He bought her a sandwich, a bottle of water, and a cheap plastic rain poncho. She tried to refuse. "You don't have to," she said, eyes wet again. "I know," David replied, "but I want to." They sat near the window as the rain lightened. Linda told him about how she used to love cooking Sunday dinners for her neighbors, how laughter used to fill her small kitchen. "I just miss being seen," she murmured. "These days, people walk by like I'm a shadow." When she finished eating, David offered her his phone. "Let's find a shelter. Somewhere warm, at least for tonight." He helped her call a local outreach center, and by some miracle, they had one bed left. The volunteer on the phone promised to send a van within the hour. Linda squeezed his hand before he left. "You have no idea," she said, her voice breaking. "You might have just saved my life." David smiled, but as he drove away, the clock on the dashboard reminded him, he was now 20 minutes late for his interview. By the time he arrived, dripping wet, the receptionist told him the hiring manager had already left. "We tried calling," she said gently, "but I guess you didn't pick up." He sat in his car, staring at the steering wheel. For a moment, he felt crushed. He had done the right thing, and still lost. But 2 days later, his phone rang. It was the same company. The manager had heard about what happened. The receptionist, it turned out, had told him everything, the rain, the woman, the act of kindness. "We could use someone like that here," the manager said. "Someone who doesn't walk away." David got the job. Weeks passed. Life started to steady again. One evening, after work, he stopped by the same gas station, this time to fill up, not break down. And there she was again, Linda. But she wasn't sitting on the ground anymore. She was wearing clean clothes, handing out hot coffee from a thermos to 2 other people huddled near the curb. When she saw him, she smiled, the kind of smile that glows from somewhere deep inside. "You didn't just help me," she said. "You reminded me who I was. So I'm doing the same now." David felt his throat tighten. It wasn't the kind of miracle you read about in books, it was quieter, deeper. One person choosing not to walk away, and that single moment echoing into another life. Kindness had come full circle. We'd love to hear your story. What is the most memorable act of unexpected kindness you have witnessed or received? Share it in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes, one small act of compassion can change everything.